So this one is probably a topic you'll, I think, have a little bit more say on. I'm a little bit older. I don't really care as much either, to be completely honest.
Which is why our dynamic is good.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Jynxzi.
Yeah.
Huge talking point. Cracks 100,000 Twitch subs.
Number one.
Not that long ago. I don't know how many days ago since.
Within the last 24 hours, I think. 24 to 48.
I think close to probably 48 from when we're recording this right now. Number one on Twitch, obviously, with those numbers, and basically plays Rainbow Six. Now, the question is, and the debate around it for me is, there's this notion that Siege content is dead, or to be a content creator in Siege, in its world, it's just not viable, and yet the most popular guy in the world right now in terms of Twitch is a Rainbow Six player. Is this more to do with Jynxzi, the person, and less to do with the content that is R6? I think so. And so therefore, does it really matter then? Is it all just an excuse? For those that say, I don't want to do Siege content anymore because Siege is dying or Siege is dead or whatnot, is it just a bunch of bullshit and no one wants to watch them?
I mean, I think this singular dot point, or the word Jynxzi, we could easily craft an entire episode around the many layers I think that this sort of catches on. So obviously, like everything, we invite people to chuck their thoughts, comments down below as well. And I hope to do an episode sort of discussing the content scene in a little bit more depth, because I think Jynxzi, his success is down to a couple of things. And Siege is not one of them. Personality is huge, and playing into the meta, things like TikTok, etc. Not just the content itself, but how it's, I think, delivered and connected to the audience is so key and so important. But you know what's funny? I remember a couple of years ago, a lot of creators were coming out and saying, my metrics are down, the game is dead, I don't know how much longer I can do this, the game needs to change, blah, 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 blah. I haven't seen any of those in the last 6 months. They've been real quiet. And Siege has seen an uptick in plays. I don't want to downplay that. The game's in a really good spot, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
And perhaps there's other things going on in the algorithm, whatever, in the content space that have driven up those creators to now be complaining less. But Jynxzi's growth is so exponentially off the chart compared to any of those metrics that he has done something right and made other content creators, especially those that have been around for a long time and seen a downtrend, look bad. Their content has become stale, repetitive. That's been a problem that I have called out, privately with you in the group for a long time, that Siege content has just
Not private anymore.
has kind of been bad for a long, long time. This is where we air out all the dirty laundry. So I think Jynxzi has led the way in a lot of those fronts, and if that raises the platform for everyone and encourages others to improve and innovate and inspires them to do cool shit, then great.
Now, this might seem a little bit controversial to others. To you, probably comes to no surprise. I've personally never watched Jynxzi, despite being, of course,
even I don't. I'll be completely transparent. I've watched him occasionally. I enjoy his TikToks, his shorts content, etc. I don't think he's really targeting even my age. Like, I'm 23, obviously. He's probably targeting, I would say, 18 and below, maybe. So it's not my target demographic, but I can relate to why people enjoy this content, why people enjoy content like XQC. They enjoy the personality and engage with that. Jynxzi could play literally any game on planet Earth. The same number of people are going to tune in.
That's pretty much what I'm getting to, right? Is that, like, I haven't necessarily watched him enough to sit back and say, well, yeah, maybe there is a reason why it's because of Rainbow Six. Is it that much a part of what his core identity is? Is he actively playing it for 90% of the stream? Is it just barely visible? Is it mostly full screen? I mean, these are questions I'm just asking you because, quite honestly, I haven't necessarily watched him all that much. And I know that in terms of the meta, for a lot of these big streamers, it is actually way more about them than it is the game.
I mean, the meta at the moment on Twitch, right, is just chatting and reacting. Now, Jynxzi's not exempt from doing that, but you look at his metrics, I can't remember the exact percentage, but it was well over 90% is Siege. And there are no other content creators getting anywhere near those kinds of numbers on Siege. And again, this does not directly correlate with the game being the number one game on Steam or something crazy like that, where you'd be like, okay, it kind of makes sense that the top Twitch streamer of everyone with over 100,000 subs is a main Siege streamer. So I don't know how much of his popularity has been drawn from maybe the game seeing a bit of an uptick. I don't know. If anything, I think he might be a motivating factor for the game increasing in popularity.
You would hope so. I mean, at that point...
Which is a good thing.
Because there's obviously that debate around him, and therefore the game comes with it. So, No, I think fair play to him. If it's a game that he enjoys, he plays it. If it's a part of his success, even minor, it's still something that obviously does need to be discussed. So I'm very curious to see kind of how that landscape changes potentially for Rainbow Six content creators. Do they kind of just look to emulate what Jynxzi's doing? Do they obviously think, okay, maybe we can play Rainbow Six? Because like the thing is, I'm sure there's probably someone out there that's like, well, Xenox, why didn't you not go and watch him as research? Well, this is why it's called no bullshit.
That's right. But, I mean,
this is meant to be like unfiltered. Like, I just straight up want to talk about.
Well,
I mean, I don't know the guy that.
I don't want to expose your age too much, but you're literally in your 30s. You're not going to be watching. Jynxzi.
I don't think you have to say I'm literally in my 30s.
But you are.
I've just turned 30 this year. That's not.
You're in your 30s.
In my 30s.
You're in your 30s.
I haven't reached that point just yet.
Well, I think we leave that point there. I think
Yeah,
we can go a lot more in depth on that. Maybe get some insight from content creators, community, etc. before we talk about that more. But congrats, Jynxzi, 100K, number one. Yep. Absolute Chad.
We'll get him on the podcast.
Maybe one day. That'd be pretty crazy. We'll fly him down.